Hi, this is Dr. Karen Becker, and today we're going to discuss seasonal allergies. There are two types of allergies that pets can acquire: food allergies and environmental allergies. And seasonal allergies fall under the environmental allergy category. There are other types of environmental allergies your pets can acquire. So dust mite hypersensitivity falls under environmental, as does chemical hypersensitivity, so pets can develop allergies to cleaning supplies and aerosols and latex paints and plastic food and water bowls. Those are all considered environmental allergies. But hands down, the most common environmental allergies for pets include outdoor allergens such as ragweeds, grasses, pollens, molds, trees. That's what we're going to discuss today. So pets can acquire seasonal allergies for a whole host of reasons. Allergies are an immune system overreaction, and your pet's immune system is based partially on genetics, so your pets could have inherited a predisposition for an allergic response to occur, and partially on the environment, which are things you can do to moderate your pet's environmental exposure or their immune system's reactions to environmental potential allergens. The reasons that, that pets acquire environmental allergens are vast, primarily related to an upregulation of their immune system, and their symptoms are equally as vast. So pets that acquire environmental allergies don't have just one symptom. And so animals that have weaknesses in their lung fields, they will have symptoms of inhalant allergic reactions. So you can see sinusitis, the inflammation of the sinuses; bronchitis, inflammation of the bronchi, the airways. You can see allergic bronchitis, where animals can cough and produce a lot of mucus. You can see clear nasal discharge. Animals can have runny eyes, red swollen eyes. You can see red mouth, red chin, red ears. Redness in general, hyperemia, is a secondary effect of having a systemic inflammatory response. You can see red paws, red bellies, red anuses. Itchiness certainly is a common symptom for environmental allergies, but even bowel problems. Animals that eat allergens can have a systemic inflammatory response, and you can end up with vomiting and diarrhea. So the symptoms are pretty vast. Notice that all of these conditions all of these symptoms that I've just described all can correlate to itis. Itis is the Latin term for inflammation. So colitis, sinusitis, bronchitis, dermatitis, otitis, all are symptoms of inflammation. So we're going to talk today about a few tips that I have for you providing some natural anti-inflammatory support to your pets. We do recommend that if you believe your pets could have seasonal environmental allergies, that you begin thinking about providing some systemic support for inflammation before the inflammatory cascade occurs. And what we mean by that is, by the time your pets become red and itchy and swollen and miserable, pets are oftentimes miserable enough that they need to visit the veterinarian. If you know that every April, when the grass becomes green and pollens bloom and plants start to bloom and trees bud, that your pet is going to develop itchy paws, we're going to recommend February, March, you begin pre-planning in a proactive manner to help offset how much inflammation occurs in your pets before actually the inflammation has a chance to get a foothold. So there are several natural ways to reduce itis or inflammation. And some of the things I recommend at my animal hospital are to start dogs and cats on quercetin before allergic response can occur. Quercetin is a bioflavonoid that has anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties. Quercetin, I call it nature's Benadryl because it does a great job of suppressing histamine release from mast cells and basophils. Histamine is what causes a lot of inflammation, redness, irritation. And by turning off the body's histamine production through supplying quercetin in the diet, you can help suppress how much, or moderate the effects of inflammation by suppressing how much histamine is released from the histamine-producing cells, mast cells and basophils. Quercetin also does some other great things. It inhibits 5-lipooxygenase, which is an enzyme that can upregulate the inflammatory cascade. And by inhibiting leukotriene production, which is another way the body creates inflammation, you can actually decrease how much bronchoconstriction takes place. And we know that that's one of the symptoms of asthma, is that there's a constrictive response in the lung fields, and you can actually help suppress how much constriction occurs by supplying quercetin. Second thing you can do is supply bromelain and papain. Bromelain and papain are two proteolytic enzymes. Bromelain is derived from pineapple. Papain is derived from papaya, and these proteolytic enzymes do two things. They increase the absorption of quercetin, which means it helps quercetin work more effectively. But these proteolytic enzymes also have a suppressive effect on histamine. And one of the reasons that we use bromelain, quercetin, and papain all together is that bromelain and papain have the benefit of suppressing prostaglandin release. And prostaglandins is another pathway through which inflammation can occur. By suppressing prostaglandins, you can decrease how much pain and inflammation is associated with inflamed and irritated mucous membranes and body parts. So in essence, there's a little bit of natural pain control and anti-inflammation benefits by using these substances all together. The other thing I'm going to recommend that you consider doing is optimizing your pet's omega-3 fatty acid balance in their diet. We know that the ratio of omega-6s, which are primarily found in vegetable oils, and omega-3 fatty acids, which are primarily found in fish body oils, optimizing the ratio is really important. We know that omega-3 fatty acids are very sensitive to heat and light. We know that in processed foods, regardless of how they're processed, whether it's frozen raw foods or canning foods, or dry foods, most certainly. We know that when foods are processed, especially at high temperatures, which would be the canning and the dry foods, that omega-3 fatty acid content is lost and diminished, which means the active ingredients in those omega-3s, even though they're in the food, they're no longer transferred up the food chain to your pets. And we know that those omega-3 fatty acids are really responsible for helping to decrease inflammation in the body. So adding back in omega-3 fatty acids, particularly krill oil, salmon oil, tuna oil, anchovy oils, the fish body oils is a really good idea if your pets are struggling with managing inflammation or seasonal environmental allergic responses. I also recommend you consider using coconut oil. Coconut oil contains lauric acid, and lauric acid helps to decrease yeast production. So using fish oil with a coconut oil is a really good option before inflammation occurs in the body to help keep the inflammation pathways moderated or suppressed. Couple other suggestions I'm going to make to you when it comes to helping to reduce the likelihood of your pets expressing seasonal environmental allergic reactions. You have to remember that your pets are naked and fuzzy and potentially low to the ground. Now, even if you have Great Danes, their feet are still making contact with the ground. You and I wear shoes and socks and protective clothing, and we do a lot more frequent bathing, which means even though you and I are encountering the same allergen load potentially as our pets, we're disinfecting our bodies and we shower regularly, bathe regularly to help mechanically remove those allergens from our system. Dogs don't. So dogs are outside sniffing, they're breathing in their allergens, they're walking through their allergens. The only place dogs sweat from is the bottom of their feet, the tip of their nose. So they literally become wet Swiffers during allergy season. So they're collecting billions of allergens all over their body. They come inside, those allergens are tremendously itchy, prompts an IgE, an immunoglobulin E allergic reaction. So there's this allergic response that causes redness and inflammation, itchiness, and in turn pets can dig and chew at their skin, which can create a lot of pain and additional inflammation through self-trauma. Common sense is rinse those allergens off. We know human dermatologists recommend that as a common sense approach. If you have hypersensitivities, if you're allergic to corn smut and you're a farmer, your dermatologist will tell you you need to take a shower in the morning and take a shower at night to remove some of those allergens from your body surface. And we recommend doing that for dogs and cats too. Particularly for dogs, we would recommend that you consider setting up a foot bath and just manually rinsing, soaking, and removing allergens from their feet on a pretty regular basis, daily sometimes. I have a video on how to prepare foot baths. We have several videos on bathing and grooming, and we have some videos on allergic pets as well that can help provide some of the details on how to do some of those things. Other common sense approaches are to get the pro-inflammatory byproducts out of your pet's diet. We know that foods are either anti-inflammatory naturally or pro-inflammatory. And during high peak allergy season, if your pets are prone to environmental allergies, we recommend that you make sure that you're decreasing how much pro-inflammatory foods are coming into your pet's mouth. So foods that create inflammation are foods that are high in carbohydrates. So during peak allergy season, it's especially important that you consider an anti-inflammatory diet, which is providing foods that are low in corn, wheat, rice, starches in general, soy. We recommend that you optimize and increase the number of fruits and veggies, particularly berries if your dogs will eat them, and that you increase the amount of lean meats, decreasing the amount of starches to help provide natural inflammation through foods. One last word of advice for seasonal allergic pets. I do not recommend that you vaccinate pets when they're having a systemic inflammatory response. So a lot of traditional veterinarians, when you take your dog or cat in the spring and you say, you know what, it's March has come, April's here or May's here, my dog's really overwhelmingly itchy, not a good time to consider vaccinating because vaccines stimulate the immune system even more. It's a really good time to talk to your veterinarian about titering, which is measuring your pet's immunologic response to vaccines instead of automatically providing unnecessary vaccines.